Hey there, everybody. I wanted to come on just for a few minutes and talk a bit about the tools that I will be using and that I would recommend if you're looking for recommendations to work on your dog's nails or your cat's nails. Apparently, cats like to be involved in these things too. So we have a few things that I would recommend, and I choose these because I have found that you can waste a lot of money on cheaper versions. But if you get the really good stuff, it pays off over and over again. Okay. So the first thing would be the clippers. And these are red-handled Miller's Forge clippers. Okay. So they need to be the red-handled, not the orange. The orange are larger, and you might think that because they're both Miller's Forge, they're the same, but they're not at all. I've found the red-handled to work much, much better. Okay. The beauty of them is they're very, very sharp, and you can get little slivers of nail off with them. Okay? So I'm not going to necessarily be cutting the entire nail with this. Let me see if I can get Zen up here. Move a cat. Come here, Z. Right here. Okay. Here. So I can get just a little tiny sliver on the front or side, or the top, I should say, or side, and sort of carve them down rather than trying to do a big chunk. Good job, Z. Okay. And so they're very useful. If they start to get dull, replace them. Okay. If you're the kind of person who can get them sharpened, get them sharpened. If on the other hand they get dull, then they hurt, they put pressure on, they crush, and no wonder your dog doesn't like it. So keep them sharp. Okay. So red-handled Miller's Forge, one of my suggestions. Then for the Dremel, the Dremel Brand Mico 8050 is the one I definitely recommend. I've tried others. There's no comparison. What I really like, I like a couple things about it. It's got a lot of power, and it also has a nice light. Sorry, Tricky, but again, we don't need you right now. There you go. So let me show you just a little bit of that. You can see the light. Just like cutting through butter. It's so easy. Okay. The other thing that I did here, though, is I replaced the sanding band. Okay. This is called a Dimagroove Pinacle Head. Dimagroove Pinacle, and that's what it looks like. So you can see it's kind of shaped there. You can get your dog's nail in there very nicely. You just take off the entire sanding band and collet and everything at the top. Replace it with this. They have a video on how to do it. It was really easy. If I can do it first time out, it's really, really easy. And I am stunned by this thing. I am in love with this thing. Yes, they are very expensive. There is no question. And I could probably buy sanding bands for the rest of my life for what I paid for this. But to me, the value is how comfortable it is for the dog. It doesn't heat up, and it's much, much faster. So you can get the job done much, much quicker if you have a diamond head instead of your regular sanding band. Again, totally up to you as to what you might decide to do, but I like it a lot. Okay. Just quick and easy. Good job, Zen. Okay. Not a hard thing to do at all. Okay. The last thing I'll mention for nails, well, I'll mention two things. I don't have one with me, but a file. Some people like to use files instead of clippers or a Dremel. Files are fine. Get yourself a very good one. I've been told that glass files are good, but check a beauty supply store. Sometimes you can get like blocks instead of files, sanding blocks. Any of that stuff will work. Okay. And then the last thing I'll actually mention is the, we call it a half pipe, which is, or scratchboard. So it's a big piece of PVC cut in half vertically. Then I've put traction tape inside of it. And the traction tape is just like sandpaper, except you can peel off the back, put it right on there. If you want to take sandpaper, glue it on, feel free. People always ask me what grit to use, and I have no answer except medium. I don't know, I kind of always go for the middle level on things. So putting that on, working on teaching your dogs to scratch the scratchboard with their feet. It's fun. It's a way that they can keep things in check while you're working on your training. For some dogs, that might be all you ever need. Once they learn a scratchboard, you're in good shape. But for most, that's not going to be the case. We still have the case of dew claws that have to be done. So they're going to need something a little more. But I wanted to give you a general idea of the kind of tools I would recommend. Okay, thanks.